Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Steelers Cameron Heyward slams former teammate over Pittsburgh dig. The Pittsburgh Steelers are looking to make a deeper playoff run during the 2024-25 NFL season after adding pieces in the offseason. Nevertheless, the Steelers lost players, including former linebacker Patrick Queen, who joined the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore cornerback Arthur Maulet seemingly took a jab at Queen for his comments about the city of Pittsburgh, and Steelers defensive lineman Cameron Heyward defended Queen. Maulet and Queen played together on the Ravens, but the irony is that Maulet used to play for the Steelers and is an ex-teammate of Heyward's. Queen claimed that the city of Pittsburgh was superior to Baltimore. This promoted Maulet to tell the media that the grass is not always greener on the other side and implied that Queen was just making his claim up. Here is what Cameron Heyward had to say in response to Maulet's comments. "I think Arthur Maulet, is just mad that Patrick Queen, left for the greener pasture," said Heyward. Pat had a heck of a comment to Marlon Humphrey talking about the green pasture. "I think there are a lot more Baltimore Ravens that would like to be in this situation, rather than that situation," Heyward said on the Not Just Football with Cameron Heyward podcast. It is respectable to see Heyward defending his new teammate. It will be interesting to see how Queen gels in Pittsburgh after a stout season with the Ravens. The 24-year-old comes off a 2023 season where amassed a career-high 133 total tackles along with 3.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 1 interception. Patrick Queen will provide a notable boost to Pittsburgh's defense, but their offense is facing questions after they brought in new quarterback leadership. The Steelers signed former Denver Broncos QB Russell Wilson and traded for ex-Chicago Bears QB Justin Fields. Fans and analysts have debated which QB will start during the 2024-25 season, and ESPN's Louis Riddick made a bold prediction on the matter. "I have a feeling, based on my conversations, that if Justin can continue to ascend like he's looking in practice, he's going to start week 1. He's going to be the opening day starter. I thought he'd be the starter at some point anyway," Riddick told Dan Patrick on the Dan Patrick Show. No matter who QB1 is during the fall, the Steelers retain their goal of improving upon their first-round exit from 2024 and making a deeper run. Steelers, Mike Tomlin shift struggling lineman's position. A lot of the focus for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the lead-up to the preseason has been their offense. Understandably, Justin Fields, George Pickens, and Russell Wilson all have the capability to lead this team to victory. However, the squad's defense tends to get overshadowed by these conversations. Mike Tomlin and Carl Dunbar's coaching staff was faced with big decisions in schemes and rotations. The biggest one in the Steelers' offseason so far involves DeMarvin Leal. The Steelers have opted to shift DeMarvin Leal's position such that he becomes an outside linebacker. He has struggled to produce big numbers and make huge plays for Mike Tomlin's team when he was a defensive end for 2 seasons. So, the coaching staff is very optimistic about this new rotational change that they made. To put it into perspective, Leal was not in the best condition at DE. Throughout 2 seasons with the Steelers after exiting Texas A&M, he has only managed to notch 29 combined tackles. Of those takedowns, only 18 of them were done by his own sheer strength, with no help. Moreover, the Steelers' linebacker only recorded 1 sack in that span of time too. Clearly, he was not too comfortable in this role alongside TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. Despite this big change, Leal welcomes the decision made by his coaches. He even set a deadline for himself to pop off, via Brian Batko of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. "It's now for me. I wouldn't say now or never for the season, but it's now for me," he declared. It takes time for a lineman to grow in the league. However, 3 seasons is already a fairly long duration for someone who is constantly given the opportunity to pop out and show Steelers fans this offseason that he is worthy of being on the 53-man roster. Regardless of all these statements being made and lofty goals set, the Steelers are not yet giving up on Leal. Carl Dunbar even had some high praise for him and his progress while transitioning into the new role. He's always been an athletic guy. He's more attentive in the meetings. You can see him out here, he's learned both of them, defensive end position and outside linebacker position. You can see the productivity on the field is starting to show up, the defensive line coach added. There are clearly a lot of things that the Steelers need to figure out on defense. But, adding depth through converting Leal could make the most impact. Duloc, Steelers waiting to hear from 49ers if Brandon Aiyuk trade will happen. The Pittsburgh Steelers are reportedly waiting to hear from the San Francisco 49ers if the team will be able to acquire Brandon Aiyuk, according to Jerry Duloc of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Duloc also reiterated his report from yesterday that the Steelers aren't trading anyone from their current roster in a deal for Aiyuk, while adding that San Francisco wants a wide receiver to replace Aiyuk. Pittsburgh isn't going to deal from their wide receiver core to add Aiyuk, as it's a group that needs to be upgraded, hence why the team is on Aiyuk to begin with. Pittsburgh seems to be the team to beat for Aiyuk right now, but he could always stay with the 49ers on a contract extension or be traded elsewhere. Aiyuk would have to agree to sign an extension with whatever team is looking to acquire him, as no team would trade assets for Aiyuk for just 1 year, but the compensation also has to be enough to motivate the 49ers to move him. The possibility of a third team getting involved to facilitate San Francisco getting a receiver for Aiyuk has been floated around, but 3-team trades are incredibly hard to pull off in the NFL, and that doesn't feel like a very plausible outcome. With the Steelers not giving up a player, it could lead to San Francisco asking for an increased draft compensation package for Pittsburgh, one they may not be willing to meet. That seems like it could be a hold-up in the trade right now, as Pittsburgh won't overpay for Aiyuk and their unwillingness to move off a player could be a detriment to a win-now 49ers team. The fact that a trade hasn't happened yet despite all signs pointing toward one means that there could be a number of complications that the two sides are working through. The saga for Aiyuk has felt like it's been nearing the end for a while now, and if San Francisco agrees to trade Aiyuk without acquiring a player, the Steelers may give up multiple day 2 picks in order to acquire Aiyuk. It sounds as if we'll have a resolution of some sort in the coming days or potentially hours, and it may or may not wind up with Aiyuk wearing the black and gold in 2024. The Cleveland Browns were the other team reported to be in on Aiyuk, although he reportedly doesn't want to play for the Browns. That could mean that another team we haven't heard from yet gets involved or Aiyuk winds up staying in San Francisco if a trade with Pittsburgh doesn't come to fruition. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Brandon Aiyuk? Leave your opinion in the comments.